Hey, my lovely. Welcome back to the Leader Within podcast. I'm your host, Sue-Ann Higgins. Over the past 3 episodes, we've been exploring how AI can help you escape the try harder traps of leadership that keep so many women leaders stuck in overwork, overthinking, and overwhelm. We've talked about how AI isn't replacing you, it's refocusing you. We've explored how it can help you break free from perfectionism and stop you falling into the mind reading trap. Today, I want to address the deepest fear I hear from many women leaders about AI. Won't using AI make my leadership generic? Won't I lose what makes me unique? Before we move on to answer those questions, since episode 1, we've been working on understanding our inner world, identifying your try harder traps and reconstructing your thoughts and helping you amplify your leadership presence. Today's episode is a culmination of that work because I want to show you how AI doesn't dilute your leadership. It distills it down to the most powerful presence that you've ever experienced. I keep hearing, if I use AI, won't my ideas just sound like everyone? Won't I lose what makes my leadership style unique? And I understand this fear. We've all seen generic AI content, which quite frankly feels soulless. We worry about that if we use these tools, we'll become another cookie cutter leader, saying the same things as everyone else. This is actually a sophisticated version of the self-sabotage traps we've identified in episode 5. It's the fear that using effective tools somehow diminishes your authenticity or your capability. But let me ask you this. Does a master chef become less unique when he uses a food processor instead of chopping everything by hand? Does their signature style disappear when they use quality tools? Of course not. Their uniqueness comes from their palate, their creativity, their understanding of flavors and techniques, not from the manual labor or preparation. Here's what's actually happening when you're spending hours on mechanical parts of leadership: the data gathering, the initial drafts, the routine analysis. Other leaders are using AI to handle that grunt work so that they can focus on what makes them distinctive. Your unique leadership doesn't come from your format of a report or the structure of a presentation. It comes from your perspective, your emotional fluency, your ability to read the room. It comes from how you synthesize information, not how you gather it. And here's the paradox. When AI handles the heavy lifting, you're not diluting your leadership. You're distilling it into its essence. You're left with the pure you, the wisdom, your intuition, the authentic way you connect with people. Think about the last time you felt most powerful as a leader. Was it when you were perfectly preparing every detail and memorizing it? Or was it when you were fully present, responding authentically to what was happening in the moment? The leaders who are afraid of AI will spend their time on tasks that don't differentiate them. Meanwhile, AI savvy leaders will have the mental space to develop strategic thinking and authentic presence that can't be replicated. And let's look at a pattern that I see with many women leaders I work with. We'll call this composite leader Eleanor because she represents the journey so many women take from fear to amplifying their leadership presence with AI. Eleanor is a senior leader. She's a creative type, strategic, but terrified that AI will somehow make her generic, that she'll lose that creativity and that thing that makes her special and makes her sparkle. When AI first came mainstream in her industry, Eleanor's initial reaction was resistance. She prided herself from her writing ability, her creativity, and her unique voice. The ideas of using AI felt like betrayal, like she was betraying everything that made her valuable. But Eleanor was also drowning. She was spending 6 to 8 hours writing first drafts, another 4 to 5 hours researching market trends, and countless hours on routine communications that needed her perfect touch. Eleanor's brain was so occupied with the routine cognitive work that she had no mental space for the strategic, creative insights that actually set her apart. The breakthrough came when Eleanor reframed the question. Instead of asking, will AI make me generic? She started asking, what makes me irreplaceable as a leader? The answer wasn't her ability to write the perfect first drafts or compile research. It was her ability to understand human psychology, to see connections between brand strategy and emotional impact, to read the room and adapt her message in real time. When Eleanor started using AI as her thinking partner to amplify her leadership presence, she generated initial concepts she could refine. She used it to compile research that she could synthesize, to draft communications that could be infused with her unique perspective. Her work didn't become more generic. It became more distinctly hers. Because now, instead of her creative energy being depleted by routine tasks, she could focus on the strategic and emotional elements that showcased her expertise. She could spend time on the human insights that no AI could generate. Eleanor told me something that perfectly captures this transformation. I used to think my value came from doing everything myself. Now I realise my value comes from what I bring to everything I touch. AI doesn't make my work more generic. It gives me the space to make it more uniquely mine. Her communications and campaigns became more innovative, not less. The communications were more emotionally resonant, not robotic. Her leadership became more strategic, not standardized. That's the difference between fearing AI and how it will dilute your leadership and discovering how to distill your leadership to amplify your leadership presence. Let's dive a little bit into the brain science again, because this will help you understand how AI actually enhances rather than diminishes your leadership presence. We've talked previously about how your prefrontal cortex, the Goldilocks of the brain, needs 80% of the neurochemicals for you to do your best work. Strategic thinking, pattern recognition, creative insights. But when your brain is overwhelmed by routine cognitive tasks, these neurochemicals get diverted to task management. Here's the truth. Leadership presence, the kind where you feel genuinely you, actually requires significant cognitive resources. When you're operating from your most present self, you're integrating information from multiple brain networks, your analytical thinking, your emotional centers, and your intuitive insights, and your past experiences. But when your prefrontal cortex is starved because you're handling routine tasks, you can't access that full integration. You end up leading from a depleted state rather than your most resourceful state. And then when you consider the 5 gatekeepers of human behaviour, when you use AI to handle routine work, your sense of autonomy increases. You're choosing where to focus your cognitive energy. You actually enhance your brain's ability to access authentic responses. When your brain is managing too many routine tasks simultaneously, it defaults to more generic, templated responses. It increases your cognitive load. But when that cognitive load is reduced, your brain has the space for more nuanced thinking. So using AI to handle routine cognitive workload actually frees up mental resources, the resources you need to be more authentic and distinctive as a leader. So let's look at some reconstructed thinking that may be required around AI. Your old thought might be, using AI will make my leadership generic and rob me of what makes me unique. We know that that isn't the strategic trailblazer you want to be, that kind of thinking will keep you stuck in a performance plateau. The reconstructed thought is AI helps me focus on the leadership qualities that truly make me irreplaceable: my perspective, wisdom, and ability to connect, engage with people. AI helps me focus on what leadership qualities, the reconstructed thought. AI helps me refocus on the leadership qualities that make me truly irreplaceable: my perspective, wisdom, and ability to connect and engage with people. Feel the difference? One is from fear and resistance. The other is from possibility and empowerment. Here's another one. My value comes from doing everything myself. The reconstructed thought. My value comes from what I bring to everything I touch. AI gives me more space to add my unique insight and wisdom. And here's the crucial thought, old thought. If I use AI, people will think I'm not capable. Your reconstructed thought is, using AI strategically demonstrates my leadership savviness and allows me to operate at my highest level. Your living legacy is created by distinctive wisdom, perspective, and the human connection you bring in every interaction. When you're an AI savvy leader, you're not cutting corners, you're cutting through the noise that makes most powerful. You're cutting through the noise and accessing your leadership presence and accessing your leadership presence. So again, let's unpack how AI can distill rather than dilute your leadership. Let me give you a framework for this. First, identify your unique leadership qualities. What makes you irreplaceable as a leader? Is it your ability to see patterns that others miss, your emotional fluency, or your strategic thinking? Maybe it's your ways that you make complex ideas accessible to others. Step 2 is to map out your cognitive energy. Where are you currently spending mental energy on tasks that doesn't show your unique qualities? Research, first drafts, routine analysis, administrative communication. Step 3, use AI for foundation, U for distinction. Let AI handle the foundational work, the initial first drafts, the routine analysis, then apply your unique leadership qualities to transform that foundational thinking into something that's distinctly yours. And the most important step is step 4, focus on human elements. Spend your cognitive energy on the elements that require your human insights, emotional dynamics, strategic implications, cultural considerations, relationship building. If your strength is strategic thinking, as an example, use AI to compile information and data, and then focus your energy on identifying patterns, implications, and strategic opportunities that only you can see. If your distinctive quality is around emotional fluency, use AI to draft the communications and then infuse the communications with emotional intelligence and human understanding that makes your leadership compelling. If you know you're good at making complex ideas accessible, use AI to gather and organize information and then apply your unique ability to simplify that information in the way that it resonates with your audience. I know that for some of you, the resistance to AI goes deeper than efficiency or your concerns about being productive. There's a fear that if you're not doing everything manually, not doing everything yourself, you're somehow not earning your leadership position. This connects back to the try harder traps that we explored throughout the series. Sometimes our resistance to effective tools come from the struggles of our self-worth, the value that we believe we must earn through effort, the value that we believe we must earn through effort rather than demonstrated impact. But here's what I want you to consider. The most effective leaders throughout history have always been the ones that leverage available resources, human and technology, to amplify their impact. When you use AI strategically, you're not being lazy or taking shortcuts. You're being strategic about where you invest your most precious resource, the mental energy and your creative. Your legacy isn't created by working harder or by how manually you handle tasks. It's created by the positive impact you have on people and organisations. And that impact, it comes from your ability to think clearly, connect and engage, to lead with wisdom. All these things are enhanced, not diminished, when you're not buried in the routine cognitive work. As we wrap up this part of the series for AI and leadership, I want you to think about the bigger picture. We're living through a moment in technological transformation that is as significant as the Industrial Revolution, in my opinion. The leaders who thrive aren't the ones who resist change. They're the ones who understand how to use technology to amplify their leadership presence, to use it as their leadership advantage. When you become an AI savvy leader, you're not just improving your own effectiveness. You're modeling a new kind of leadership for women coming up behind you. You're showing them that leadership isn't about grinding or working harder. It's about leveraging what's around them and leading smarter. You're demonstrating that confidence doesn't come from doing everything manually. It comes from focusing your energy on what matters most. Here's what I want you to do this week. First, make a list of the things that make you truly unique as a leader. What do people come to you for? What perspective do you bring that others don't? Second, identify where you're currently spending that mental energy on tasks that don't showcase these unique qualities. And finally, experiment with using AI to handle those routine tasks. Then invest that freed up mental energy into those leadership qualities that truly set you apart. Notice what happens when you have more cognitive space for strategic thinking, emotional fluency, for connecting and engaging with others. Pay attention to how leadership feels. Does it feel more generic or more distinctly yours when you're not exhausted by that routine cognitive work? As we wrap up this 4-part series on AI and leadership, I want you to remember that leadership isn't defined how manually you handle tasks. It's defined by the clarity of your thinking, the wisdom of your decisions, and the positive impact you create. AI doesn't dilute your leadership. It distills it down to what matters most. And what matters most is irreplaceable. Your perspective, your wisdom, and your ability to connect with and inspire others. In our next episode, we're going to be shifting gears to talk about something many of you have been asking about, what coaching actually is, and why waiting for your organisation to offer it might mean you're waiting forever. If you've ever wondered if coaching is right for you, or what really happens in these conversations, you won't want to miss this. Until then, my lovely, keep leading within. Lead, communicate, and show up differently. Hey, hang on. Before you go, I have some powerful resources for you. If today's episode has you thinking about how AI can help you escape those try-harder traps we've been exploring, I've got 2 resources that will take your leadership to the next level. The first is if you're ready to stop being that invisible leader who works twice as hard and gets half the recognition, grab my free guide, From Invisible to Influential, at sue-ann.com.au/invisible. This will show you exactly how to step into your leadership presence and get the visibility you deserve. And if you want to dive even deeper into becoming an AI-savvy leader who uses technology strategically rather than falling into the new try-harder traps it brings, join me in my free masterclass at sue-ann.com.au/masterclass. I'll walk you through the exact framework for using AI and amplify your leadership presence, not dilute it. Both these resources are completely free. They're designed to help you think, communicate, and show up differently. Don't wait for your organisation to offer these tools. Take charge of your leadership development today. That's sue-ann.com.au/invisible for the guide and sue-ann.com.au/masterclass for the masterclass. I'll see you there.